Hello, this is Chef Sarah, and today we're going to be making fermented jalapeno hot sauce. So let's go ahead and go over the ingredients. Here we have a filtered water. I have a jar, an empty, clean jar, a lid. I have about 325 grams of jalapenos and garlic. I have about 7 grams of salt, and I have a fermentation weight. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is lacto-fermentation. This is going to take, you could use maybe a week to a month, however long it takes for things to stop bubbling. So all you're going to do here is we're going to take our salt. It's 2% of salt based on the weight of your vegetables, whatever you're fermenting. So this is the 325 grams of peppers and garlic, and then I have around 7 grams of salt. So for me, I like to salt them first. You can absolutely make a brine. It doesn't really matter too much. I just kind of think this helps marry the flavors. It pulls the liquid out of the garlic, pulls the liquid out of the jalapenos, and just gets them familiar. So I just kind of toss those around. And make sure you have a nice sanitized jar. That's really important. You don't want any bad bacteria to grow. That salt is in there to prevent that, but just in case, make sure your jar is really clean. So I've got everything nice and coated in salt, and I'm just going to drop it in there. And this is a process that people are intimidated by, but this is not a hard process. So this is a process people have been doing forever and ever to kind of preserve their foods and make nice things. Okay, this one's going to be very hot. You can definitely remove the seeds and make a more milder or more mild sauce. But I'm going to add all the seeds because I don't know, if I'm getting a hot sauce, it should be hot, right? Okay, so I'm just going to pack it in there. And now I'm going to remove my gloves because I'm not going to be touching them anymore. Make sure you use gloves, or just be aware of those seeds will make your skin burn real bad. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and pour my water over, just so it covers them. They definitely need to be covered. As soon as they're poking out of the water, they're susceptible to mold. So the last thing we're going to do to kind of make sure that that doesn't happen is, this is a fermentation weight. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them in multiple places. But this is just going to help keep everything underwater, and that's the goal, is to make sure everything is underwater. So push it down until there's kind of a layer of water on top. And that way you know there's a nice seal. Don't worry too much about the seeds. They're going to absorb the water. I'm not terribly worried about that. But the main portions are under the water. And you could also, at this point, make sure your rim is clean. I don't have a towel here, but I will, after this video, wipe this rim with a little bit of vinegar. And then you could wrap it in a paper towel. Just be aware that using something like a paper towel, something that's more porous, can cause evaporation. So just make sure you have that kind of water lock on top if you're going to use a paper towel. So check it every now and again. For me, I just use a lid. The most important thing is that you don't screw it down super tight. You just want it finger tight so that the air can escape. So CO2 will be created in this jar, and it needs to release. So it is not tight. You just finger tight barely so the air can still get out, but nothing can get in. I would say definitely not a cheesecloth. A lot of people go with cheesecloth, but you can get particulates, you can get dust. Fruit flies will love to fly in there. So something, if you're not going to use a lid, use something like a paper towel that has a really tight weave on it, and that will help keeping things clean. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is set this in a cool place for, you can do it for a week, you can do it for a month. You're just waiting